Hello and good morning. Today is January 28th, 2026, and you're listening to That's Old News, the daily download making old headlines hot again. I'm your host, Ainsley Harvey, and as always, guys, we're looking at what went down on this day in history, which means we're rewinding it all the way back to 814 AD, where Charlemagne, the first Holy Roman Emperor, dies at age 71. Often called the father of Europe, Charlemagne united most of Western and Central Europe, becoming the first recognized emperor since the fall of the Roman Empire in 476 AD. Moving up to this day in 1509, and we have the birth of the first Tudor king of England, Henry VII. He was the only child of Edmund Tudor and the 13-year-old Lady Margaret Beaufort, whose devout religion gave her a sense of destiny that her son's purpose was to bring peace to England, which was currently locked in a succession crisis called the War of the Roses. Speaking of Tudors, let's move up to this day in 1547, where the most famous Tudor finally kicks the bucket. That's right, Henry VIII died on this very day due to complications related to obesity and exacerbated by gout. That, of course, means England has a new monarch, which in this case is his 9-year-old son, Edward VI. Henry, of course, is not short for choice, with 3 children in total. There is his eldest daughter, Mary, by his first wife, Catherine of Aragon, the baby of the bunch, Edward, by his third wife, Jane Seymour, and the middle child, Elizabeth, by Anne Boleyn. But thanks to his penis and Henry's constant changing of his children's status in the line of succession, Edward becomes king on this very day. Meanwhile, January 28th, 1813 is the founding moment for womankind, with Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice being published. Following the release of her first novel, Sense and Sensibility, 2 years earlier, Pride and Prejudice, which was originally named First Impressions, was attributed anonymously, with a brief note that it was by the author of Sense and Sensibility. Despite a lukewarm critical reception, the tale of Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy flew off the shelves, quickly selling out its first print run, leading to a second and third edition. Although Austen sold the copyrights for profit, which meant she missed out on any of the royalties. Stunningly, Jane Austen's name didn't appear on any of her books during her lifetime, simply being published anonymously by a lady or by the author of, until her brother Henry revealed her identity in a biographical note for Northanger Abbey and Persuasion, publicly naming her as the author of all her novels following her death. Speaking of incredible female authors, let's jump to this day in 1873, where Colette, French author and actress, is born. Best known for her novels exploring women's lives and sexuality, including the famous novella Gigi, Colette was a fiercely independent woman who challenged social norms through her writing, personal life, and stage career, ultimately becoming the first woman writer to be granted a French state funeral. Another happy birthday is due today to Alan Alda, who was born on this day in 1936. The American Emmy Award-winning actor and director is most famous for his portrayal of Captain Hawkeye Pierce in MASH, aka My Childhood Crush. That man is fine. Happy anniversary is also due for this day in 1956 to Neil Armstrong, who married fellow science student Janet Elizabeth Sheeran. Together, they had 2 sons and a daughter, Karen, who sadly passed from a brain tumor in 1962, 7 years before Neil would become the first man to walk on the moon during the Apollo 11 mission. Speaking of space, this is the day in 1986 where the Space Shuttle Challenger explodes 73 seconds after liftoff from Cape Canaveral. The launch, which was televised, killed all 7 crew members, including Krista McAuliffe, a high school social sciences teacher from Concord, New Hampshire, who was selected from over 11,000 applicants by NASA's Teacher in Space project. She was to be the first civilian in space, teaching lessons from orbit to bring renewed attention to the space missions. And that's old news from this day in history. I'm Ainsley Harvey, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.